It lost me, but I'll fix it while he's preaching. All right, here's what is going to happen. I said we had a really special guest, right? A couple weeks ago, somebody came up to Scarlett while I was gone, said they had a message that they wanted to share with you guys. And so I was really excited to get a chance to talk with Drew a little bit today because he has a message that I think God has given him for you. And so I'm going to preach to y'all tonight. I don't even think Drew's preaching on. I think he just is...
Just talking.
He's just talking. I think he's going to share something. So I'm going to ask you to be very respectful of your peer and your brother. And welcome to pay attention to me.
Can I get a what? Can I get a hey, hey?
Hey!
What's going on, everybody?
What's going on?
This isn't Mike up here. This is me. You can be a little bit more loud than that. Come on, let's go. Now, I want to start by saying I apologize to all the adults in the back because this message is probably not for you. You probably won't take a lot out of this message. I don't know, maybe you will. Fuzzy's giving me a thumbs up back there, so I guess that's a good thing. So I want to talk to you teens, okay, teen to teen. How many of you are actually in your teens? I know we have some newer kids from Next Generation that aren't in their teens yet. Who is 13 or older? Raise your hand. Pretty much everyone here, 3/4 of you. So I want to start talking to you about, first of all, what the world thinks of us teenagers. Who has an idea of what adults think about us? What's that?
Thugs. They think we're thugs.
Thugs. Punks.
Emus.
No good, right? I have a very disturbing piece of news to you, okay? Most adults think that there is a much greater chance, and some of it's true, much greater chance of teenagers falling into drug addiction, alcohol addiction, being sexually active before they're married, all of these things, okay? Adults don't have a very high, picture of what teenagers are in society. They don't think we contribute to society very much, and they don't think that we, are mature enough to be adults yet. Which, most adults. Yeah. Most adults. There's the adults that love us, and they know us better than that. But I'm talking in general as a nation. America does not think that we are fit to be adults. We're not, there's all this stuff that we struggle with. And a lot of it rings true. But sometimes you're just walking along and the old lady is in front of you at Walmart and she drops something and you go to help her pick it up. And then all of a sudden you get sprayed with mace. Like, I don't think I saw you come out with a knife. I said you dropped your pen. Come on now. People don't have a very good idea of what teenagers are. And I think that that's offensive. Don't you guys think that's offensive?
Yeah.
You stand for that, right? So I had an image up on the screen earlier. And it was, I know you've seen it before, it's the NOTW. Does anyone know what that stands for? If you know what it stands for, shout it out. NOTW. What does it stand for?
Not of this world.
Not of this world. You see it on bumper stickers, you see it on t-shirts. Now what does that mean is the real question. Does anyone want to take it?
We are not of this world.
That was really exactly the answer I was expecting out of you, Ben.
Is that a good thing?
Not of this world. Okay, not of this world is exactly that. It means we are not of this world. And to be not of this world means we are in the world, but not of the world. We live in this world with the rest of the people around here. We live in this world with, all of our fellow people. But we are not of this world. Whenever we said that we accepted Jesus into our hearts and that we were going to be his followers, we immediately were taken out of the world and placed over here. We are not of this world. We are in the world, but we are not of the world. And to get in deeper with that, what does it mean to be a Christian? Does anyone know what it means to be a Christian? Who are we trying to be like? Christ-like. We're supposed to be like Christ. I got news for you about our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He was not someone that was easily accepted. He might have been easily accepted by the people that followed him, but to the people that he came to and the religious leaders, he was not easily accepted. He was not of their world. He was not part of what they knew. Okay, everywhere Jesus went, he brought some sort of trouble with him. It wasn't like bad trouble, like, oh, he's a troublemaker, but from the religious leader's perspective, he was a problem causer. Eventually, so much that it got him killed. So if we're trying to be like Christ, what does that say we should be like? Not saying we need to be hoodlums who are causing problems everywhere in the name of Jesus, graffiti actual graffiti on buildings. But to be like Christ, we need to be the person that is not easily accepted by society. And Francis Chan, when he was up there talking, he talked about being with the sinners. Jesus ate with the sinners. Jesus ate with the tax collectors. He did things that didn't make a whole lot of sense. So that's what we should do. If we're trying to be like Christ, we should be able to be with those people and with the rest of the world, but we should not be of them. We're not one of them. We are set apart. We made that commitment. The minute we accepted Jesus into our hearts, we were set into our own group. But it's not an exclusive group. We're supposed to be bringing people in with us. We're supposed to be reaching out and trying to pull people in. My notes are not on an iPad, as you can tell. That's just another reason it's not Mike up here preaching, because he does his iPad out. Okay. I do have peach fuzz on my face. So we are in the world, but not of the world. And let me tell you, can anyone give me an example of something that we do now that other people think is crazy? Something we do as a youth group that other people would look at and be like, what the world are they doing? Trust me.
We have worship when we're about to be sad.
Perfect example. Anyone else? Anna? We do dye our youth pastor's hair pink. That is something that other people look at and think it's pretty crazy, right, Tyler? We tackle each other, and me and Ben will be out during worship just flailing around like we don't know what we're doing. That's a little weird, right? That's what people look at and they're like, whoa. You know? In the world, but not of the world. Can anyone else give me another example? I got a good one.
We load up the vans and drive around with sticky notes.
That was exactly what I was going to say. We go up to fishermen as they're fishing, tap on his shoulder, give them a note that says, Jesus love you, and hope you catch a lot of fish. And we load them in the vans and we leave, right?
Be fishers of men.
Be fishers of men. Good examples. Now, that's something that is totally new to this generation. This generation is totally on fire for God. And this is where I might get a little bit offensive to the adults in the back. But there was a whole generation of Christians before us that it wasn't their fault. It was the way they were brought up in Christianity. There wasn't a youth group that you could go to where you could be with other teens and you were on fire for it. You were a Christian, but that was your own business. That was your own belief. You kind of kept it to yourself. You would go to church and you would sit like this in your pew, and you would get fed the gospel and fed the good news by people who knew what they were talking about, but it wasn't what we have now. We went from this, the generation before us, that are sitting like this, and they're red back hymnals. That's a little bit back. That's a little bit dated.
Yeah.
But we go from that to what we have now. When we go to youth camp, I didn't go to youth camp, but I wish I had. Okay? We go to youth camp, and we take this, and we turn it into this. How crazy is that? That's why people look at us, and we're different from other generations of Christians. We're different from the generation of Christians that would just kind of, bottle it up, and they would go to church on Sundays. And sometimes they would share with people. It's not like they never shared, but it wasn't like now. They don't have the media that we have. They didn't have the resources that we have. We have the ability, at the touch of a button, or going on your computer, to spread the gospel to anyone on Facebook, which is however many million people. Or the 50 people that you're friends with, right, Charlie? But they just didn't have that. And that's what I think the beauty of this is that we actually have the ability to be in the world but not of the world. We can be, with our friends that might not know Jesus yet. But we can be with them and they can accept us and they can be like, hey man, how's it going? You could be on the football team, you could be in that band, you could be, with that group of girls, And they can accept you, but they know, there's something different behind him or her. There's something that isn't the same. And they'll look at us and they'll say, I just can't put my finger on it. I just don't understand. They go off and they act like they want to be with us, but something's really different. Something's, it's not the same. And what that is them seeing the Christ mirrored in us. Christ would go and dine with sinners, and he would eat with the tax collectors, and he went up and he touched the adulterous woman that no one would have done. He did that, but yet he wasn't conformed to it. And one thing about that is whenever you're away from the world, you can be in the world, but whenever you're separated from the world is going to try everything in its power to pull you in. The world doesn't like things that are different. People don't like things that are different. People that look at us and see what we do whenever we have our hands raised and we're on fire for Christ, they don't like that. that. That's different than what they've been used to. I'm talking about outside people. They don't like it, and the world does not like it either. The world is going to try everything to try and conform you and say, no, you don't want to do that, come over here and do this. You don't want to be with those people, come over here with us, we're better. You know, they're going to try and call you out. There's an old saying that says that nail that sticks out always gets hit hardest. And that's what the world's going to try to do. The world is going to try to attack us. And the world is also going to try and tempt us. Ben, come up here for a second. Come on, I'm not going to bite you.
You have
Sometimes the world might attack us by, persecution. Sometimes they might attack us by, humiliation. But other times they're going to attack us like this, okay? I'm the world, and you are not. Okay? I'm the world, and you're standing like this. You're here, and you are standing on fire for God. You are against the world. You are defiant against the world and its ways. And then all of a sudden, here I come. Here. Come look at this. Come steal this. Come hang out with these people over here. Oh, it's just pornography. It won't do anything to you. It's just over here. Just a little bit of lust, just a little bit of greed, just a little bit of, oh, look where you're at. Right over here with me. See what happens? The world is going to throw everything it has at you to try and get you back. But we're not of the world. We never were of the world. None of us were supposed to be the world. No human being was ever supposed to be of this world. We were supposed to live for one person and one person alone, and that person came and he died on the cross for each and every one of us. Only some of us have accepted it so far. And whenever we're persecuted and whenever we're going through that, there are certain verses that tell us, like James 1, 2 through 3. Consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. And James 1:12, a few verses later, says, blessed is the man who perseveres under trial, because when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life God has promised for those who love him. That's telling us that whenever we go through those trials, we go through those temptations, and we go through those, attacks, we should be rejoicing. We should be like, man, we're doing what we're supposed to do. Because we know it's going to happen. It tells us right there that it's going to happen. But it tells us that whenever we stand through that, and we support each other through that, and God carries us through that we are doing exactly what we are supposed to do. And then we should rejoice in that, because we are going to get the biggest reward in heaven for what we're doing. We're fighting the good fight. We're running the race that's set before us.
It's confirmation.
It's exactly confirmation. Now, whenever it says that, blessed is the man who perseveres under trial, what does that mean whenever no one's around? It's easy to do that whenever you're in this youth group and you're surrounded by people who love God and love you. And you can say, well, I'm not going to go and steal Mike's wallet because there's all these people here, why would I do that? I'm not going to go over there and steal Mike's wallet. But what about whenever no one's around? And you're at your house by yourself with your computer on? Or you're with that group of people that you know you shouldn't be with, but no one of authority is around to stop you. Or you don't have anyone around to catch you whenever you go to steal something. Or the lie that you know you can get away with because no one knows any better. What happens then? Gets a little harder, doesn't it? Is anyone registering with me? Give me a what if you're registering with me a little bit. What? Okay. All right. So what happens? What do we do in a time like that? What do we do in a time whenever we got all these thoughts in our head and we're just about ready to snap and we don't know what to do? There's no one around and we just want to so bad. What do we do? How do we go to God?
Right.
I've had times whenever I have that itch that I can't scratch, and I just want to do it so bad, and I can't, there's no one around, and my head's spinning, and I would just hit my knees. I eventually just have to hit my knees, and I lift my hands up to God, and I actually cry, and I say, God, I can't do this by myself. I'm trying to persevere, but I can't persevere. I need you to carry me through this. Because I know whenever you carry me through this, you never give me more than I can handle, and it feels like it right now. But I know I can get through it, and whenever I persevere through it, I'm going to get the reward that I deserve, and that you promised me. He promises each and every one of us a reward for being separate from the world, and it's a tough fight, it really is. So, what is another example of being in the world but not of the world? Does anyone have another example? There's no wrong answers.
If you play pretty much any sport, you're typically going to have people or
Get that boy a microphone.
Work, sports, there's always going to be somebody that you